So in the green room before our guests came on, I wanted to prep them and say that I didn't want any like hot takes, because we're sitting on these. Scheduling's a little crazy for the boys right now. It might be a little delay. You might be wanting instant reactions to things, but might not happen. But I feel okay about saying this right now. Did you guys know Abraham Lincoln's gay? Yeah.
Log cabin Republicans. Yeah.
Literally
pass around party bottom. Yeah.
Lincoln logs, phallic.
This is new to me, but I'm also from Canada, so they don't teach that in our schools.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Because then they're like, well, we have a gay leader now, so
right, exactly.
Canada, you're like, our guy's a flaming homosexual. He's not a log cabin.
Well, but I think that goes against Honest Abe, because gay people love lying.
Yeah, that's true. Because like when John Wilkes Booth pulled up and he was like, "Oomphy, not this." In the theater.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by the visit Glen Rock, need crypto told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
He was just watching. I forget what play. Well, you guys know the play, right? Carlo, I feel like you know the play he was watching. Well, wasn't it like that was a trivia question? It's like a Jeopardy-ass question, and I feel like I knew it at one point.
Hamilton,
Wicked,
probably.
Hamilton, yeah, for sure. Yeah, anyways, it is interesting though because I made the astute observation today on Twitter that Mary Todd Lincoln. Could that have possibly been Todd Mary Lincoln? Like Todd Mary, at the bar, a couple drinks in, comes into Mary.
He's a bit of a Mary.
Yeah, a bit of a Mary,
Well, she was famously a hysteric because and it was like popping pills all the time. Yeah. The original Art Ho. Because he was going off to go wrestling in the woods all the time.
Yeah, fair. No, exactly. And he, also I can understand later, especially with Biden inflation, kind of just being at the time after his death, just being like, hey, we'll give you the penny. We know your secrets. You'll be on the penny. Don't say anything. Don't ever try to. You're not going to get on the quarter. You're not going to get on the $50. We got something for the guy that's going to be on the $50. Don't you worry. That's happening to him too, But it's quite interesting. I think John Wilkes Booth, I always heard he was gay. That was like a conspiracy theory I'd heard for a long time because he was just an actor, which that was like the most degenerate job title you could have back then. It was just, it still kind of is. Most of them are kind of gay.
Theater kids.
Yeah. They're, he was a theater kid. But I can imagine if Todd Lincoln got picked and John Wilkes Booth was like, oh, so you're just going to pick this fucking hag over me? And it's like, I know you're going to be at the theater because you're a fucking homo and you're always at the theater, and then just shoot him in the head. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe it's not. Maybe that you talk to Lincoln historians about the war and they're like, what war? It's like, oh, yeah. He got killed because of the war. Yeah. There was a war.
Hell hath no fury like a scorned gay lover.
Man, I swear. So what's been up with the guys? I mean, look, for everybody who doesn't know, you guys should know these guys are two very big parts of what we do here. They've been on multiple times apiece, and they both have helped out in auxiliary forms of RC content other than RC proper episodes. We've got Bigmac, McCarthy, and Montgomery Carlo of the Nice podcast. That's exactly how I would describe it. How's that been going? How has does it still feel nice?
It does still feel nice. We've been doing it. It's pretty substantial workload, especially when I was in community college, because I'm insane. I have to edit the show, those episodes, so I don't sound retarded. But yeah, it's been great. We just recorded with Low Res Wonder Bread.
Oh, great guy.
So yeah, great guy, RC alum. But yeah, we just recorded with him. That's coming out this week. It will be out already by the time that this episode comes out. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been great to just be able to talk to somebody new every week for the last 6 months or so, 7 months. It's just how I make friends anyway. So
it's really hard to make friends in the wild right now, as dumb as that sounds. But it's really easy to do it through these like coordinated hangouts of like sending links to each other. Nobody wants to admit it, but if you want to make some friends, just start a podcast. And people are so flattered to be asked to be on one, they'll come on and then they'll be your friend. And then after a while, other people will want to come on. And then you're, I don't know what happens after that. I still haven't figured that out. But, other than that, it's pretty fun.
It's not an Adam 22 thing where we fuck the people on the podcast afterwards.
Well, we do have some episodes in the chamber in which we did try a little something different.
Right.
It's we like to get a little avant-garde, like Brian Eno style. We get a little weird, a little acid jazz with 2 S's, not a C. We got a little crazy. But
the RC Fuck a Fan contest coming soon.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, absolutely. That's why Sai isn't around for a while. He's recruiting. He's not gonna be around for. He's gonna be around. He's gonna pop in when he can, but he's real busy. All good news, everybody. It's all good news. It's not bad. I don't want to hear any little chatter of a trouble in paradise. No, that's not the case. Actually, in fact, me and him are gonna hang out next week in real life. Which has only happened like 3 times since we started the podcast, even though we grew up with each other. It's kind of funny.
We're going to get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode.
But today we brought you guys on to talk about a movie that I've seen a million times, but I've always kind of loved your guy. You guys kind of have this, I don't know how to describe it, but especially like Bigmac, you kind of come from like a indie rock kind of. Is indie rock the word? I don't know. I don't know what like David Berman. I don't know what any of that is. Like I've listened to you guys talk about it, but I still don't know what it is.
Yeah, indie rock is probably a good way to summarize it. Just like, I don't know, artsy fartsy music, pretty much. Yeah, David Berman in particular is a favorite of mine, the Silver Jews guy. But yeah, I definitely was in bands and stuff when I was younger, and it became increasingly uncomfortable to hang out with that kind of person. So being normal and into independent rock music is kind of a dangerous game.
Yeah, I hung out with a lot of rap people, which is like also kind of like that grows old after a while, but it is a completely different trajectory than like indie rock people. Cause like we would have these guys like that would be rapping and they would really be trying to like make the next big viral hit, like in the 2010s kind of. Everyone Soulja Boy came out, everybody was like trying to do that. And There was like one guy that was just shouting internet all the time. That was like his ad lib. So he'd be like, some internet like that. He would say it. And everybody was like, for a while, like nobody vibed with it. Everybody was just like, this is ridiculous. It was like when you watch a stand-up comic and like other comics are in the crowd and like they're testing material out. And like, you want to be honest and be like, hey, I wouldn't bring that one out in front of audiences. But this guy was just like, no, dude. It was kind of like Blades of Glory. He was like, no one knows what it means, but it stops you. Like it was like a real like kind of this moment, this gif, like the guy tapping the head, and he was just like, you don't know what this means, but it makes you stop because everyone goes on the internet, and I'm just like, yeah, man, just keep going. And I to be honest, I had about a 5% chance where I was like, what if it worked and I'm a retard? You know, like what if it was just everyone was just like, bro, internet, it's so sick. You'd see shirts that just say internet with a period on it, lowercase I, just shit like that, dude. But it was completely different because they weren't suicidal. They would just go to jail. That was a different thing. It was a different kind of death, Shakespearean tragedy, because being an indie rocker is all about not killing yourself until you, or killing yourself and then your music becomes cool.
Yes. Yeah. There have definitely been months of my life where I've only listened to music by people who killed themselves or drank themselves to death. Which when you're like doing
being an author.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But yeah, if you're a bit of a depressive who drinks too much, which I can be prone to do, then definitely indie rock, alternative country music has your back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least you're not into punk.
Not anymore. I had my fun in the sun, but I'm no longer gay or retarded.
Dude.
So
I swear to God, man, because I've been obsessed with this subreddit. You guys are in the chat with me and stuff, but like I've been obsessed with r/punk, man. It's the best thing I've ever seen. And it's people that would normally aggravate me, but I think it's really funny that they think they're like speaking like with Christoph Waltz above the floorboards, like ready to like hunt them down. Lord willing, but it's not happening at the time. They're kind of like guys, I think there's a transphobic band playing in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Ugh. Like, what should we do? And then there was one guy, and I absolutely got a thrill out of it. There's a lot of like people say. No one will ever say the what's transphobic about them. I don't care about that either way, obviously. But like, you'd like to see at least like maybe he like got in a GameStop tier argument with somebody in public. Like you'd like to at least earn it if you're gonna get that. But half the time they're just like, oh, this guy made a quote unquote joke, but I thought jokes had to be funny and just all the classic things. I still don't know the band's name or anything, but everybody has their epic strategy about how to railroad their shows. Go to the concert promoter saying, hey, no one's going to go to the show for a transphobic band. No one's going to open for them or anything, which to me, if I'm a band that's struggling, I'm like, I will open for the transphobic band. I will literally be a tranny and do it. I'll be like, let's ride.
Clip that.
Yeah, I would do that. And then one guy said, I'm going to bring stink bombs. If that happens, it's a punk show, so redundant. It's already no one's gonna care. And then one guy's gonna, because the lighting can be disrupted by moths. Apparently, he says he's gonna show up with a jar of moths, and disrupt the show. Which again,
just bring bees at that point.
Yeah,
like what's up with the half measures?
Yeah, picturing a guy with a big Joker Batman 90s Batman sack in the back, like arguing with the bouncer whom he has like a kind of personal relationship with, because this isn't the first transphobic protest that he's done at the club, and he's just like, I'm just bringing in some stuff. This is for a toy drive, and then just deploying the mods and nothing happening, but then going on r/punk and like lionizing yourself. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, dude, there's that kind of stuff is rampant. There's also like in metal scenes and stuff, then they'll always be asking if bands are sus or not. There's a very large, like, I don't know, politically extremist streak in a lot of metal music, which is, I mean, those guys are fucking Norwegian or whatever. You're not gonna stop that.
Guys have eaten each other.
Right. Yeah, you'll listen to fucking Burzum or whatever, but that's the guy who killed his bandmate. But yeah, if they say gamer words, then that's where we draw the line. I can excuse cannibalism, but racism, not a fan. But it's so frustrating, and it's just like, I don't know, those guys are fucking dorks. Dorks. But that band was called Conservative Military Image, which I think is funny. So it makes sense why somebody would be like, I don't know if these guys are cool, but then they like put out a statement on Instagram saying, no, actually we are cool, and we believe everything that you guys say, and we are not transphobic. Which, I mean, bro, just
nothing cool than that.
No,
I can't stand that, dude. First off, the way that works is they don't forgive you. Like there's no forgiveness. Like this is not about like you lose whatever you lose. Like, and I get it. They probably did just make a joke or like make just a banal observation of like, I think it's kind of weird that this children's book is depicting this, like that's strange. Even if they said something like that, that is at the same way as like going to a truck stop, like methed out and being like, you know, doing something crazy. Like that to them, it's the same thing. These are all sins in the eyes of God for them. Like, and so you might as well own up to it. And I just laugh because like so many punk bands or like, you know, they always have try to put a what is punk kind of thing. But like there's so many people, so many bands like Joy Division, New Order. These bands have like overtly Nazi names, and that used to be like a fun thing to do in the 70s when like David Bowie and all these like crazy stuff. But like these people like
Sex Pistols with the swastika shirts.
Yeah, like they used to do all that stuff, and like that is fine. But like this guy just going on like Reddit and just saying like something weird is like way worse than that. You have to like adjust for the time or something. It's like it's so fun. And then they like the part they get hung up on, and I actually agree with them on this, is when people say like punk is, you know, people try to say, well, that's not punk to just go with like the establishment and doing all this stuff. I'm like, well, the establishment now, that absolutely is punk. Like we have like a punk establishment at this point. Like we have like AOC dancing around and like moshing on stage with like bald head people and stuff. And just like we have the punk people have the exact same politics as like Joe Biden. So it's like, that is punk. I mean, that people were just mad that wasn't the case in 1977.
It's punk in the classic sense of guys that get raped in prison.
Yeah, we were pocket out. You know, yeah, exactly. That's what's up. Yeah. But anyways, the reason I brought that up too is there was a playlist drop early because Anthony Bourdain pops up quite a bit on Twitter lately, and just in the news. You know, anytime every year is like death, you know, anniversary or something happens. And I've actually always hated him, even while he was alive. Like, and even when I didn't have the same politics that I do now, I just found his show to be extremely boring and predictable. And the fact that he would just say that like In-N-Out Burger was better than like this Michelin star chef. And he would always do these really try hard, contrarian, yet the most predictable contrarian takes. Whereas you would have Andrew Zimmern that would say, actually, this dung beetle tastes better than In-N-Out Burger. Like you had all of these guys, and they were all on the front lines of libtardation. So I found that to be an interesting trajectory. But Anthony Bourdain also has Obama style playlists, but in his own, what he thinks is like transgressive and punk. And I found his favorite songs, and there's two parts to it. So we're going to go through it just real fast. And of course, I highlight a couple on there that I think are really funny that he put on there, albeit they're probably my favorite songs on there. But he has, to start, Anthony Bourdain's favorite songs: Anemone by Brian Jonestown Massacre, Pusher Man by Curtis Mayfield, and What's Going On by Marvin Gaye are back to back. And we know exactly how those songs got on there. He scanned his list after he was done and found out he had literally only white punk bands and like kind of new wave bands, and was like, I'll get fried if I don't have a black guy on there. And so then he was like, went to the top YouTube search of Marvin Gaye and was like, oh, What's Going On? That's my favorite song. Put that on there. And then Curtis Mayfield, Pusher Man, which is essentially the What's Going On of Curtis Mayfield's career. And because nobody that values those artists enough to put them in any sort of list has those two as their favorite songs. It's just like saying Blitzkrieg Bop is your favorite punk song of all time. No one has that, like, unless you don't like that, which then you wouldn't even consider it for your list. So I laughed. Because I think there's a human element to that, because sometimes I'll be picking a movie list and I'm like, these are all the same type of movie. I got to put this type of movie on there to diversify it, even if I don't feel like I'm violating a rule or something. But he just goes full on, like, you can tell he's sweating over it. He's like Dostoevsky wandering in the underground, you know?
Yeah, he definitely like went and asked like his like 20-year-old like PAs on his show, like what they listen to. Like, and keep in mind, if you go onto Spotify for any of these artists, like Anemone is the first song on the Brian Jonestown Massacre page. Like it's always like the first one at the top. It's like, oh, this sounds cool. This will give me cred.
I'm just imagining him with like the Biden speechwriters, like cobbling together this Spotify playlist, just having to slide it. Just he has to pass the black people on the playlist.
Yeah, check. That, like, he handed it over to the guy at whatever publication was printing this, and it was like a kind of like the TSA agent, like get out, kind of like that physiognomy almost. And he's just like, you know, I'm gonna have to add a few things to this, Playboy, you know. and then he adds what's going, because even he doesn't listen to the music that he thinks should be on there. So it's like, Pusher, man, what's going on? I mean, again, those aren't even bad songs. I mean, I don't really need to hear them much anymore. Although I did see a crazy ass white boy in Santa Barbara do like a kind of like Grateful Dead ass like jam band cover style of What's Going On, and he was hammered on stage, and he had like a Pied Piper hat. It was pretty sick. That
sounds sick.
He was shredding too. He was like doing sick guitar fills while like singing and stuff. He had a automated drum machine, and then he had his boy. It was just his friend who clearly was like either a family member or like his ride or die homie playing bongos, dude. And the bongos weren't necessary, but the friendship between the two was necessary. Right. So it was pretty tight. So I really like that cover. More on the list. Do the Strand, Roxy Music. That is, I mean, if you have that as your number one song of Roxy Music, like you're out of your mind. Once in a Lifetime, Talking Heads, again, probably top 3 on their Apple and Spotify. With Burn It Down the House, he's probably sweating over those two. And then Tangled Up in Blue, Bob Dylan. I don't have anything bad to say about that song or a thing. Chinese Rocks, The Heartbreakers. It's probably a heroin song. I can't even think of it off my head right now. This Is Not a Love Song by Public Image Limited. Personality Crisis by the New York Dolls, which everybody that looks like Anthony Bourdain thinks the fucking New York Dolls are like the best band in the world too, which also bothers me. Sorry, I think I'm being really rude because I really hate punk rock. Like I
No, go off, King. Go ahead.
There's music that like I wish people realize like this was supposed to be around for 3 fucking years. Like, stop doing this. Stop, like, I don't know. It's like it feels like Ren Fair stuff that people do now with punk rock, where it's just like it's this boutique thing where people meet up in the park with like foam swords or something. I don't know. I can't imagine like I'm legitimately into punk right now. Just amazing. Down on the Street. I
think it's like really like to go ahead, like, along with like the LARPing of it all. It's like if you still think like the Catholic Church and like I don't know, like patriarchy or something are still like what you're rebelling against, then this is such like an antiquated like view like of the world. Like you're rebelling against like what your dad was rebelling against. Like you're completely removed. Like it's 2024, man. Like things have changed a lot since.
Yeah, he's pretending. Anthony Bourdain pretends that he's like grinding down like a rail in Tony Hawk and collecting one of the skate letters, and Officer Dick is chasing after him. You know?
Yeah, it's really like seeing somebody in the spikes and the leather is pretty much the same as seeing like a Civil War reenactor or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because like on the other end, I didn't expect it to be this normie. I thought he would go way more like the other kind of like forced list is like, you think nobody's ever heard of any of my songs, so I'm going to put them in the top 10, even though they aren't my actual favorite. I want everyone to feel like sad that they don't know all the epic songs on my list. Like, but he just went with all stuff that, if, like you said, Carlo, if you Googled each song or ran it through Spotify, it would be probably in the top 5 of each artist's thing, which that's just, again, you are like Obama AI, like Westworld mold, like if that's the case, which I
what's the coolest band t-shirt like that no one would understand or like obscure enough that would give me enough cred of bands list?
Can you imagine being the guy that created Anthony Bourdain in the Westworld lab? Like you're just like, I got it, guys. They're our next, like, we're going to do like an edgy punk chef. Like, 30 years from now, we're going to do a show on FX. That's him, basically. We're going to do that with don't worry about that. That's like phase 14 of this operation. We're going to have this guy, dude. He's going to be hooked on smack, dude. But he's going to write a book about working in a kitchen, and he's going to blow up, dude. And he's going to be cussing in it. He's going to cuss. And then he's going to go all around the world and eat and get hammered and talk about sober living while he's being hammered. With like in Thailand, he's gonna marry a chick, the wrong one, and she's gonna cheat on him with like an underage guy, and then he's a punk, so we don't have to get rid of him. And then the rest is history.
Man, the badass chef thing is so funny to me because, like, first of all, you're cooking, And the worst thing that happens at your job is that you have to cook a lot. You just have to do the job. And if a grown man demanded that I call him chef, I cannot imagine doing anything but laughing in his face. Like that, it's not the army, bro. It's like, it's the brunch rush.
Yeah, I know. And I like that show, like The Bear. I've tried. It's not unwatchable, but it's painfully, and it thinks it's so much more than it is. It's just people yelling. It's that Uncut Gems, just yelling, one note, yelling, music, needle drop, yelling. And then an AA meeting.
It's basically a punk song.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like this, he is the architect of all of this. Like, I get really defensive about sports. I get defensive about movies, all these things that people will say, like, that gave birth to like the new neoliberalism. No, it's all punk rock. All this stuff is punk rock right now that we're fighting, you know, like all the stuff, like the COVID people are like, punks still do the masks. Like it's wild. And
Aflac's daughter just went and like was talking about long COVID in front of like a fucking council meeting. Dude, mean, it's crazy. These people really are COVIDians. Yeah,
and you're just thinking like all the time. Like I remember thinking like, man, is your life that bad? Like just all those candid shots, and I'm like, nah, it is. Yeah, fuck. Like, you know, you might be like the worst life for a rich guy ever. Tough to say. I mean, like you have a non-binary something daughter. I don't know, like one of those who came out at like Jennifer Garner's dad's funeral, like said it like, well, now that I have this platform, like said I'm this, and all these like old people grieving are like, sick, cool. And then the other daughter is like one of those like really like recycled bookstore employees that is just like wearing like the insane mask that makes them look like a Brandon Cronenberg movie, like where the mask like morphs into their face. And she's just like, UCLA got caught using this tier of ventilation and it's not working. And then it's like, I really thought it was an old clip, and it was from like last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, yeah, Ben Affleck is like a Sisyphus figure, because he's got Jennifer Garner as like the shrill ex-wife always in the background, and then he keeps fumbling the Latina baddie over and over again. He's just doomed to repeat history. Because I think him and Jennifer Lopez are getting divorced again, and he looked miserable that entire time too. But just like doomed to repeat it.
I also am pulling her Latina card, because no true down ass Latina gets divorced. She should kill him.
Oh, right. Twice? Absolutely.
Yeah,
his nuts should be on the rear view of her car.
And with Mark Anthony's. They're just like dice, like, and you know, an undercover brother from like the Cadillac. They should just be jingling right there. Like she should. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm pulling her Latin card, like, you know, on that one, because you don't one was that old meme? One does not simply divorce. You know.
Yeah, maybe the second marriage was just punishment for the first one not going well.
It's true.
Very
sadistic. Yeah. And maybe he's just like, it's like not even, it's just like a divorce where it's like, sure, I'll give you the satisfaction of pretending you're going to leave me, you know?
Right. Yeah. I'll take legally half of your money.
Yeah.
But you're not getting rid of me.
Exactly. She's like, I'm going to go on tour again. And he's just like, all right, with what music? Shut up. Yeah. But there's more on the Anthony Bourdain side. He's got Down on the Street by the Stooges, which that's a good song. I'll go with that. I like the Stooges. And Sonic Reducer, the Dead Boys, Love in Spurts, Richard Hell and the Voidoids. I've never heard that song, so I don't know. Fight for Your Right by the Beastie Boys. That's nobody's favorite song of all time. That's like saying Gary Glitter's Hey is like your favorite song. Even if you're a pedophile, that's not your favorite song. And
I don't know, dude. I do love Fight for Your Right. The Beastie Boys are cold ass honkies, much like myself. And
there's no way that's your favorite. There's no way.
No, it's not my favorite, but that's probably the best one on the list so far.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true. Can you imagine downloading just a hot torrent of CP and just
it's the pedophile Rickroll.
Yeah, dude. You turn it up. You're like, let's go. Weekend plans made. You know, like I just
Chris Hansen dodged.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Or that other guy on Twitter that's like following him now. I forget what that guy's name is, but
there's like Twitch fight clubs trying to catch pedophiles. Just a
dude, I couldn't tell which one was which. I was like, which one got caught? And they're like, I was like, oh, that's the guy finding them. Okay, so my bad. Yeah.
Howling Mutant is gonna post his Spotify Wrapped at the end of this year. It's gonna be.
Maybe don't wear Nike. Yeah. Maybe don't wear Nike Monarchs with like Kirkland socks and like a fishing hat. I don't know. Yeah, if you're gonna try to catch pedophiles, like put it on TV. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like maybe that's undercover, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, crazy list. To sum it up, White Lines, Grandmaster Flash. Again, no way that's anyone's favorite. Like that's just like a rap song about not doing cocaine, which okay. And or smoking crack or whatever. And then Riot Act by Elvis Costello and the Attractions, one of my mom's favorites, recording this in my childhood home, so I'll give her that. She's a big AB head, not Antonio Brown, but Anthony Bourdain.
If only. We'll get her there.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I love it. I thought that was a perfect parlay into our the meat of the day. There's many takes that I have. We were tasked with a film to watch. Whenever you go on the podcast, there is a topic. I won't say an itinerary, but it's a topic that is the reason you're on the show is because of that. We're a little more loose here, I think. But we'll say High Fidelity was a movie that came out. Oh my God, what was it, like the year 2000 or something like that? It was a lot. Yeah, in 2000. I've seen this movie probably about 20 times. And it was only until time 15 that I found out, like, oh, I think my mom's just got the hots for John Cusack. Like, that's why I'm watching these movies. Yeah, I don't know. So do you guys have a history with this film?
I had never seen it before. I read the book when I was maybe 20, 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Shout out to books. I read the book when I was young, and it's a lot different watching the movie at 31 compared to reading the book at 21, because when I read the book, I was just like, this guy's annoying, and then there's like a little bit of a redemption arc at the end or whatever, and I was being a little gay about it. I was pretty lived up in my youth,
sure.
And so I was just like, this guy's a menace to women, we got to lock him up or whatever. But now 31, having experienced regret or consequences ever in my life, then it hit a lot different.
It's actually not that funny, but it's good. It's like better. To me, it was funny when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd watched it a bunch of times, and now I'm just like, fuck, that's bleak, dude. Like, that's a bad spot to be in. And like all the like we can get into more of this. I feel like all the chicks are like semi-busted.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not horrifying looking, but they're like not worth the time. They're not worth being on lists.
Well, it's like when your buddy goes and like shows you, like flips his phone and shows you like some girl on a dating app. It's like, isn't she so fire or something? And it's like, dude, like I'm glad you like sixes. Good for you.
or I mean, I work with a lot of Mexican dudes in construction, so the stuff they show you, you're like, that's a chick? And
yeah, seriously.
But like dude, there were these times where like you'll hear stories for like weeks from a coworker about like this chick, and you're like, why does this guy keep putting up with this shit? She must be bad as fuck. And then you see the picture on like social media, and you're like, like, whoa, that's this plus that. Like, where is the silver lining? And but otherwise, it is crazy though, because the book Bigmac was talking about is by Nick Hornby. I read it when I was in middle school, because I had seen the movie, and we had those like reading logs in middle school where my teachers didn't care like what you read. You could put like Mein Kampf, and like they were like, oh, that's 700 pages, or
at
whatever.
least he's reading.
Yeah,
it's above his reading level.
Yeah, exactly. It's maybe no presentations, but but they didn't care what you were reading. So I read High Fidelity and all these other like random books that were like quasi like woman books that were on my mom's shelf and stuff, like Middlesex by I forget what the guy's name was, but
Jeffrey Eugenides.
Yes. I read that, and the other Boylan girl, whatever. Like, I just like, wow, there's a gay kid in this class, you know. And so, but I liked the book. It's just the British version of the movie, basically. It's like it's basically like The Office, how there's two offices, but this one's just a book version of it, and it's very British. It's been years, so I don't remember if the same music is at play. I don't know if it's quite as mainstream, some of the music selections as the movie. I think there's a little bit more of a subversive quality to some of the music choices. But I really do still enjoy the movie. I think it's a fantastic case study on men, and it shows men in a light that is not demeaning, but it's also kind of like unflattering. It's kind of a black light where you see all the jizz stains kind of a little bit.
Right.
You're like, we all know that that's what guys' rooms look like, but we don't want to see that. You know,
yeah,
like, kind of what this movie is.
For sure. I mean, it's a story about a guy who is like coming to realize that he is the problem. And so it's not a flattering depiction, but I think it's definitely, you know, there's a strong degree of truth in the story being told. Like that's, I don't know. Yeah, I've definitely sat and thought about, oh yeah, that was my fault. Shit. Yeah. And at 21, I don't think I had gotten there, but that's what the big difference was for me watching it now, is understanding the character and just realizing that, you know, you're old now and that you've fucked up your entire life. I was just like, yeah, makes perfect sense.
And what's funny is
brooding and hating everything like works until you're like 24 years old, and then like it gets very old very quickly.
Oh, should I stop that now? Okay, all right. You know, let me. 33 is not too late, right? Yeah, but yeah, it's funny because, you know, one thing I never noticed before, the kind of the beauty of it is the obviously the music is a character in the movie. It's sentient at that point. But you realize the reason that this dude's so hung up on everything is because that's what music does. So like he's just around music all day. It's Rob Gordon is the John Cusack character. It's centered around the movie. You are his confidant in the movie, you the audience member. It's very Ferris Bueller. It's very of the time. It's very Woody Allen, Annie Hall, who I believe he kind of started that, you know, the Annie Hall, like, what is this guy doing? You know, he brought up the wrong philosophy. That's not Duchamp, you know, like that kind of like that he does that. I'm reading Portnoy's complaint right now, so it's just Jew things are on my mind right now.
Yeah, Woody Allen invented being Jewish.
I mean, I read the whole book. He should have done the Portnoy's Complaint audio book because it's just him, basically. Just like, if he was just like a subway schizophrenic fapper on the subway, that's like what Woody Allen would be in that book. But anyways, the music is so it's weird. Like music has comfort, but there's certain songs I like can't listen to because I'm reminded of a time in my life that I kind of should have put past me. Nobody died. Everybody's, even if I look like the bad guy, like life goes on. But when I put on a certain song, I'm like, fuck. And that's what this whole movie is anytime something bad happens, John Cusack is like this. And he just goes, top 5 songs why I'm gay as fuck. You know, psychedelic first. So, you know, just all this stuff. And you're just like, fuck. Because it is true. You don't do that. If you do that to the camera, you should sign up for the thing that they offer in Canada, where you go into that cool little bar thing. And you know, you should do that. But in our heads, we kind of like associate a song with that L, you know?
Mm-hmm. The long walks post breakup where you just have like the same song shuffling over and over and over again, like just like really stewing in the muck. It's whenever those come back up on the shuffle, it's like I've never raced to my phone faster to skip it.
But you also never delete it. That's the cool part about it. It's like it's not hard to delete songs off your phone, but it's weird.
Do you have one in particular, Glenn, that comes to mind?
Oh, dude. I've done a good job of moving past a lot of them. There was a time where I could not listen to a lot of Bay Area rap stuff, because in like high school, doing like drugs and stuff, and like being caught up and like fucking up things in my life and stuff, and just kind of, not that I was destined for any sort of academic greatness or anything, but just kind of like some L's. I would listen to a lot of like local rap, not Mac Dre, that was good stuff, but like a lot of like tweaker rap, like Andre Nicotina and all this weird stuff. And for a while I couldn't listen to it. And also it just isn't that good anymore. So it's like another reason I couldn't. But that stuff, there's a few, a lot of like father-son songs. I have a great relationship with my dad, but my dad's the hardest guy to piss off, but I've done it. So like anytime like John Lennon's Beautiful Boy, I actually love that. I think it's just a like weeping level good song. I can't listen to it because I'm like, I think about all the times I fucked something up where I'm like, even I made like that guy mad, you know? And then like, I mean, like John Lennon's not as good of a dad as my dad is, like, you know, and I mean, and I say that as one of his biggest fans. And like, it's just, it's certain things like that. There's a lot of like letting people down where like the song doesn't even have the same effect for them. It's all for me, you know? But if you guys have some of those, I'd like to hear.
I mean, I definitely have my go-to like drive home after a date went poorly song, which is Hold On Magnolia by Songs Ohio. And it's not because of what the song is about. It doesn't like trigger an unpleasant memory or anything. It's just like the way that the song sounds is how I feel when I'm driving home from the library after the girl gained 60 pounds since her profile photos. So, and now I'm very happily no longer on the dating scene, but I've done that sad drive home a couple times. And so that's my go-to just for, like I said, the sonic quality of the song. It's very good to mope to.
Top 5 songs when your date gains 60 pounds. Brick House, Fat Bottom Girls by Queen.
And Hold On Magnolia songs. That's number 1 for me.
And You'll Never Get, he always does that. Like, you'll never guess it. And it's just like, you know, some Marvin Gaye song about a fat girl or something. And then
I Want You, too. She's So Heavy.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of forced Marvin Gaye songs in High Fidelity too, where you're like, you don't listen to Marvin Gaye.
Even Jack Black calls him out of just being like, oh well, you know, you have these like classics in there to like for your credibility, and then you add in sprinkle in these really obscure ones just to increase your cred, man.
Jack Black is such a funny character in there because his stuff does not age well in the slightest. Like the humor, when I thought it was cutting edge at the time, where it's just like just all this like shit happening and weird like hand motions and stuff and epic shirts and just like, I mean, just like truly like the single-celled organism that started Reddit. Like, it's
watch it. This jacket's vintage.
Exactly. And one of the best quotes from the movie, though, it still makes me laugh. It's not that funny, but I laugh really hard, is like when the dorky guy gets like a date finally with the other dorky girl. He's like, what's her name? He's like, Anna Moss. He goes, is she covered in moss? Is she a creature? Is she like, you know? It's just, I don't know why. It's like, that probably isn't that funny, but he was on a run at that time, dude. Saving Silverman, Orange County. That's an underrated one with Colin Hanks. I think that's
School of Rock was big for me.
And I believe that's a Mike White joint, is Orange County and School of Rock. I believe those are both Mike White joints. And that was just such a fun time. And I want to rewatch Saving Silverman, but I'm also a little scared because I'm like, I really don't want to find that movie not funny.
It holds up. I actually saw it a couple weeks ago. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's probably actually because there isn't really that much good comedy anymore. It's probably does that movie a favor, you know, because like there was a time where we were progressing in comedy, just progressing, you know, like I remember in 2004, like Dane Cook, like Harmful If Swallowed, like just thinking like there's never going to be anything funnier than this. And now I'm like, that's one I might have to throw on. Like, I might have to throw on again because my dick feels like corn is like probably was gonna die of like laughter.
It's really refreshing to see women be the antagonists of movies and have them be really horrible harpies.
Yeah.
That was really refreshing, because now everyone has to be like a fucking Mary Sue and has to be like, like, oh, I'm so victimized by like fucking patriarchy or something. It's really nice to see Amanda Peake or something just be a stone cold bitch the whole movie.
Yeah, that's true. Amanda Peake, there's a name. Yeah, that's right. But in High Fidelity, there's lots of scheming, weird women, and then there's Lily Taylor, who's like the ugliest one, but also the most charming out of all of them. And I feel bad for her because she just consistently gets the ugly girl roles, even though it's like I've done worse. But like it's like whatever. But it's like she gets that role. There's that movie where she's with River Phoenix where they try to find the ugliest girl and they're all military guys or something, and like the going out to either Nam or like I think they're going to Nam or something, and like God, I can't remember. Dogfight. That's what the movie's called. And like they're like, I found the ugliest bitch ever, and it's like her, and it's like, damn, auditioning for that role is rough.
Yeah.
Just like I think that because you don't go, they go, I've found the perfect woman. I will give her my Rolodex of busted hoes.
Yeah, there's no casting call for dog-faced women.
Yeah, who are probably like 6.5, not bad, like certainly not, like mid, the mid.
A beautiful mid to call your own.
Mid. It's like a Doritos flavor. It's like it's just amazing.
Who's willing to go out with
not, would or would not. Who's willing to no mid.
Who's willing to go out with your coworker who is has AIDS?
Yeah, that's r/punk has a thing on that. It's got real spicy. No, I don't know.
Bug Chaser is a rare specimen, so hold on tight.
Yeah, but and the cast is pretty funny. I was talking to my mom about it to see how she still feels about it. She doesn't like the women cast, which I think it fits because those guys. It's weird. Record store guys or like just big time music guys. Like there was a record shop called On the Corner, and like Cy and I used to actually do a lot of like sample based like rap stuff, like nothing super crazy. There is a secret tape. If anyone finds it, I will not run from it. If anyone finds it on the internet, I'm not gonna. I cannot find it, so I'm actually hoping someone can. There is a media. I don't know if Mediafire still exists, but if you guys can find it somehow, it's Pokemon themed and it fucking rocks. Like I'll stand by it. And but we used to do that, but we used to go buy the vinyl to try to pick it apart and stuff and do that. And there was this guy who was the same type of guy. This John Cusack guy had this listening station at his place, and he would just like while you were shopping for records would just chop it up with you, and you're like, you're fine, it's nothing wrong with you, but this is not why I came here to like talk to you. And like he would put aside a stack that he thinks you would like, and everything's $24 or more. Mm-hmm. And you're like that. Oh, that's why you think I would like it.
Yeah, record store conversations are tough because I find anytime that I've gone into one, it's a guy who he will recommend you something that everybody universally thinks sucks, but he will be the one who likes it, and that makes him interesting. Like there was a while in like it was like 2013 or something where like alt guys with mustaches and the little like the flat cap, they all got really into pop music, and like we're singing the praises of like the whatever new Justin Timberlake album came out at that time, and
Carly Rae Jepsen was like ground zero for that. That was like that was the floodgate.
Sure, but there's something like uniquely irritating to me about somebody who appreciates like a mainstream artist or something in a, like a ironic detachment sort of way.
Yeah, sure.
Very odd.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. There'll be like, dude, like Paula Abdul actually rules, and you're like,
right, exactly.
No, she doesn't. It's like, oh, well, have you heard the worst album of all time? You're like, no, I haven't. Okay, well, check that out. It's only $34.
Yeah, everybody's just doing the American Psycho, like hip to be square.
Right. Yeah, Huey Lewis that's a big. There's a lot of Huey Lewis in the news people out there. I'll tell you that much. And they're Bay Area band. I try not to hate too much, but I don't see it. That's all I'm
right. I'm a staunch defender of Alien Ant Farm, so I understand why people would be like that. But the difference is that Alien Ant Farm is awesome, and they need like the Gen Z come up that Deftones got. And I say that with my whole chest, but Paula Abdul sucks.
But also, what you're doing with Alien Ant Farm, people's claim to like Huey Lewis, it's always like, this is like the best album of the 80s sports. And I'm like, that's just not true. Like that, you're elevating it to a point where no one can defend that. And you're treating it as Moses getting it from God, like it's like that's just this. It's like, that's not true. I don't even know that Huey Lewis thinks that about the album. And the Sam Kinison joke from the 80s, it's like, oh, it's hip to be square. Where is that the same place where it's hip to be called Huey? Like it's got his ass. But look, he's these bands are like, some of these bands are okay, but you're right. It's like you can tell these people they're so calculated, and they're like, well, or hair metal. There's a lot of like hair metal kind of
like reappraisal.
Yeah, there's like a lot of people that like you can tell were too cool for that a long time, where I think it's fine. You can put on some like cool hair metal stuff, but like they're like, actually what's going on here is some complex musical shit. And it's like these guys are all fucking rocked up, like coked out of their heads. Like
they were wearing dresses. It's not that complicated, man.
Yeah, these are like borderline trannies, like it's called like this band called Skid Row, where the guy looked like a Skid Row tranny, Sebastian Bach. And then you have Twisted Sister, where that guy's like, actually, I think we should vaccinate people with blow darts nowadays. Meanwhile, Dee Snider is going on tour at 77 years old. Show proof of vax. If you show proof of vaccine to go see Twisted Sister in 2024, you should get the really bad mRNA one. Like that should just already be deployed, because it might be Jover, like for you.
Yeah, we got a couple of Johnson Johnsons that have been unthawed for about 2 years now.
Yeah. It's like the sixth booster is the Twisted Sister shot. That's like, hey, if you made it this far, your services are no longer needed, And
from the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent.
But with the movie, the women in there, there's the main one that he's super hung up on is this like IKEA woman, like Ibn Hijeli, and she is just like I'm really. Was her name Laura in the movie? I think it was. Yes, Laura, and that's kind of the genesis of why he's going back in time. Rob is going back in time and trying to correct or see why he's not the problem in all of these old relationships. He's doing a record list, but with his girlfriends. And meanwhile, within those girlfriend relationships, he's finding actual songs to attribute to the emotions that he's feeling. And this girl, Laura, who's got like the fucked up ass, like weird haircut. It's very strange. Eventually shacks up with Tim Robbins, who rules in this movie. I'm a
great feature in that movie.
Tim Robbins in this movie with the pony,
his rat tail,
the new age, like all the new age stuff that he's into. Totally,
he's got RC listener physiognomy for sure.
I feel like it's the guy that was fucking Janice Soprano, but it's just kind of not really. Like, it's the same guy. Like the guy that has narcolepsy in The Sopranos. Like it's literally the same guy, and but it's a different actor. And there's also, I love the band the Kinky Wizards. I had forgotten about that part. The epic like they're like punks, but I can't even describe what their music is. They played a song, but they're just these guys that are trying to get their tape heard by like the records. It's such a fake thing that's happening. Like these guys that are like, I really hope the record store guy really likes my album, like, rather than just trying to play shows and stuff. And I know of the time it was a lot easier to get your physical media in like an independent record store and hopefully get it sold. But like these guys it's such a weird thing that they really want to like win John Cusack over in there. But it's also kind of charming.
Yeah, that sort of stuff is always really weirdly done in movies. I find like any like attempt to like kind of approximate the way that like music biz works or whatever. I'm also thinking of like remember that movie Green Room, the punk rock horror movie? Oh, it's I mean
it rocks.
been a long
you should
time,
watch
but
it.
I liked it when I saw it. But it was there's supposed to be this like hardcore punk band driving through the Pacific Northwest, and they end up playing at a Nazi bar, and hilarity ensues. But they're getting interviewed by this guy who has like a punk radio show, and he asks them why they don't have any social media presence. And I always thought that was so weird because they're supposed to be like a fucking hardcore, like they just completely misses the mark. And that's kind of what happened with the Kinky Wizards too. Like the idea of a record store owner / DJ who will throw a launch party and anybody shows up is ludicrous.
Amazing. I love the new hot like Tracy Chapman wannabe singer played by Lisa Bonet, who oddly enough, obviously she has a child with Lenny Kravitz, but she looks like Lenny Kravitz in the movie. The girl Lenny Kravitz. There's like this weird like autogynephilia relationship that they have with each other. They're based as fuck though. I love them both. She really downgraded with Biggest Loser of all time, Jason Momoa. So I fucking can't. Dude, that commercial where it's him and the guys from Scrubs. It's everything I hate about the world. I don't know if you guys are Scrubs guys. I know it's a big show. I am mortified of that show. I couldn't get 10 minutes into anything. You guys Scrubs guys?
I love Scrubs, but I hate Zach Braff.
I can't watch that show anymore. I must have seen like every episode like 3 times. But like, holy shit, is it painful?
Why was it good though? Like I watched it with like I had a friend, dude. My friend who, again, I'm in my childhood bedroom, 2 streets over, but like literally like I could do like Burt Lancaster the swimmer to his house, you know, like a couple houses over, like Scrubs, every DVD ever. He loved it, and he had a great sense of humor too. And I'm like, why is this funny?
I have not watched it in many years, but Scrubs used to be my go-to. There was a period in time where I wanted to start a Scrubs themed hardcore punk band and dress up like the janitor.
Thank God for the Nice podcast.
Yeah. Right, yeah. It never got off the ground for whatever reason.
Hey man, what's that? The Road Less Traveled. That's kind of that poem, you know. That's you. I have many of those ideas that I'm glad never happened. Let's just say how much like not good, but yeah, anyways. Jason Momoa is in that commercial where they're singing song from Greece about getting 5G piped into your house. It was as though it feels targeted. I'm not sure.
Talk about buck breaking. I mean, like that the black guy in Scrubs who like put on the dress real quick. That was, oh man, that's painful.
He was on a good roll when he started in Clueless, when he was
True.
When he was teaching Stacey Dash how to drive on the freeway. Like that was that. And then it just went to Scrubs, and I just couldn't do it. But Lisa Bonet is in there, and I love the also another like performative. It's totally not a chick those guys would be into at all, I don't think. And they're all like Dreamweaver Wayne's World's like playing when she's on stage, and they're all just floored by her, and it's just okay, you know, like it's just like passable lounge music. And I'm saying it sounds like I'm hating on the movie. It's actually quite charming in the context of it, and just kind of kitschy in a way. And but I love that she has that like stupid like Madonna cowboy hat from like the early 2000s on. It's just such a time capsule, man. It's so good. Joan Cusack, of course, has her court mandated cameo. Love her, the alpha of the family.
100%
by far. Her character, I don't care for her character. Her character sucks. Fuck her. How do you turn on your brother like that?
You fucking asshole.
That's a prick move.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a sister, so maybe that's just what they do. But I kind of need you to just like, I don't know, like you should be hiding a pistol from me if I killed somebody. Like what are you so worried about cheating on Laura? Yeah,
you're believing my lying ex. How dare you?
Yeah, who's fucking Tim Robbins 3 floors above me? I have to listen to it every night. Like, I'm obviously paying for it, even if I, like, but I have to get this, like, how dare you? That's a poor, sweet woman. It's just like, God, it sucks. And,
I will say that monologue that he has about like the 4 reasons why, Joan Cusack would be mad at him about the conversation that she had with Laura of like, all right, well, these are the things that happens in context. They're not so bad, but if coming from Laura, like, this is really bad. And like, I've had multiple of those conversations of like, oh, what'd you say? What'd you say? What'd you say?
Exactly. It's great. One of the other girlfriends I had completely forgotten about was when she was at Top of the World was Catherine Zeta-Jones. Very strange for her to accept a small role in a movie like this at that time. She was coming off of Zorro, and like, she was actually like at the top of her world, and like, definitely is too hot for him, like, too, like, at the time, like, it's just like, whoa, like, and he, that's her character, of course.
Right.
Like, he says that he's like, how did this happen? And I did want, like, to kind of break the fourth wall in a sense where, like, Michael Douglas comes out as like her new boyfriend. You're the record store owner guy, like, it's like, do you have this record? And it's like the gayest record ever, like what we were talking about earlier or something. Oh, that would be great. He plays a girl named Charlie who wears like Stevie Nicks hats. So that's, those, we've all been driven mad by a girl like that at some point.
Another incredible, like, true to life story of like back in like high school or college or something, of thinking that like, oh, this woman who has all of these like really like complicated and profound thoughts about like politics, music, movies, and all these things, and like putting her on such a pedestal, and then revisiting them like later in life to find out that, oh no, they suck and they're actually really annoying and stupid.
Yeah. Which is fine, because women have capitalized off that forever. Like, like for, on their end, like, the woman high fidelity is not interesting because that's just what they do all the time.
I've also definitely gotten hit by some, like, a woman saying something that I found very meaningful or profound in the moment, or like really resonant emotionally, and then we watch a movie together and it's from that movie.
Yeah. I also found it funny too. Yeah, of course. I also found it funny too that the most unrealistic part of this movie, or maybe it's realistic and maybe this guy just actually doesn't know anything about music, is that none of these girls stole any of his songs.
Yep.
Which is like,
well,
did they?
It's funny that we brought up Anthony Bourdain in the beginning of this episode, because Anthony Bourdain is like the girlfriend, the boyfriend equivalent of like these women, in the sense of like all of his taste and everything he got from girlfriends instead of the other way around.
Ooh, that is so proto Longhouse. Like, that's terrifying. I shudder at the thought, to be honest.
Yeah, beta par excellence.
Fighting over the aux cord instead of her just being excited about what you put on and just storing it away for later. Like, oh gosh, I can't imagine. Other people that show up in this movie: Sarah Gilbert from the Roseanne show, who is an evil, conniving woman that got Roseanne canceled, and stood by it and everything, and said that Roseanne was evil. So I've always hated her. So I'm glad she plays like the ugly nerd girl that gets with the
AIDS patient.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Nervous guy.
Yeah, the Moby, like the resident Moby character. And so I'm glad to hear that. But I'm glad that she was cast off to that kind of dungeon. You have a young Drake Bell, which Lord knows what happened on the set of this movie. I'll say that much. You have a young Drake Bell as Rob Gordon as a kid, when he loses his first girlfriend that he like calls later to find out she married the guy that stole her. So it's like all good. Which is, I do like that. I did actually like that part, because that is actually how I operate. If I lose, I want to lose to the winner. Losing to the loser sucks.
Yeah. Like when he talks to Catherine Zeta-Jones and he's like, "Are you still with Marco or whatever his name is?" And she's like, "No, that was like a week of my life."
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite of that happening.
Yeah, you're like reminding her of it. It's like, dude, it sucks. Like, hey, if I get bounced out in the semifinals, I want to lose to the eventual champion.
Right.
Like, well, I played the champion, and like that, and I would have beat anybody else, and I kind of want to. I like that. That it to me is that one spoke to me psychologically, I thought. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's I found out I thought this movie did a lot better than it did. It made $47 million on a $30 million budget, which is okay. I mean, like for a movie like that, but I thought it was a smash hit, and I think it was just a smash hit in my household. And like I said, my mom had the hots for John Cusack. I think I've seen almost all of his IMDb, like one way or another. I've always found him to be like the hipster Ben Affleck. He kind of has the same candid shots as Ben Affleck, though they're not as fun, but he's always just kind of like, he always looks like he's trying to like buy drugs off of like college kids, with his like Chicago Cubs hat on, sunglasses on and stuff. And he always looks like he's trying to be incognito, even though, like, to be honest, people would recognize him. He absolutely was a big name, but it's like he treats himself like, you know, prime, like Justin Timberlake or something, like, you know, with not being noticed. Like, I'm like, dude, anybody younger than me is not gonna know who the fuck you are, man.
Yeah. Do you know he's like a Twitter communist now?
Oh, I would love to get into that. He had a fun arc. I remember joining Twitter probably like, or at least going into the part where like the politics were, because I was on Twitter for sports in 2009. The name Glenn Rockney came from me pretending to be a sports journalist, and every sports player that I hated, I would troll. And I had a fake picture. Real heads remember the old school Glenn Rockney picture, but it's like 5 of them. I remember that. It was a very white bread looking journalist from like Utah that I found like a stock photo of. But the guy that would the guy that I would see pop up a lot was like John Cusack when it was becoming like 2016, and it was just like, whoa, it's possible that like this election could be something weird. So Hillary Clinton versus like Donald Trump, this is insane. But Bernie had like a big run in 2016, and I remember John Cusack being like super into him. But then I remember like seeing these like reports of him trying to like he was just trying to like come up on straight up like anarchist pussy like the whole time.
Yeah.
And he was like into like Twitter communism, but he did the classic Gen X thing of like, well, we lost, I guess we're voting for Hillary, right, guys? And he got slammed by people who were voting for Hillary anyways. But anyway, like they had to do the performative. Absolutely not. She deserves to lose. And like they did all that, and he was like pissed off. Him and David Cross had kind of the same had the same arc during that time. But I found John Cusack is so schlubby, so scarfy, so like I don't know. Those are the 2 words I would describe him. Like, he's not an overweight man, but he's like spiritually fat.
Right.
The way he talks, like he's not. He's like a good looking guy, but he like conducts himself as though he's not.
It's the Gen X impulse to like identify as a loser,
to be gross, to be a little gross, a little crusty, you know, like a little like, because you you watch him in like The Grifters, he looks phenomenal. Like, he's just like, whoa, like this is a good looking guy. Like, this is a star. And even his younger days, like Better Off Dead and all that.
Dude, I love that movie. Yeah.
Do you? I tried watching it again. It didn't hold up for me. I liked it when I was young.
Well, my mom was also a Cusack head, but the younger era. So like Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer is another one that she really liked. But yeah, Better Off Dead. I don't know. It's definitely low on the alpha beta index.
Yeah,
I'd have to say, because it's a movie about John Cusack killing himself over a girl like 4 times. But yes, that was one. I just grew up on it, so maybe it's just it's endearing to me. That one.
And it's funny to see like something like Say Anything, which you could argue is his biggest role or most iconic role. For that one scene alone, but people like forget that movie's actually so depressing. Like, obviously that's not a very happy scene when he's playing Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes on the speaker. You know that was in the original copy script of High Fidelity, Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes, and John Cusack's like, we can't do that. Like, we cannot blend we can't do Marvel universe of John Cusack characters in this movie. But that was when he's playing that. But that movie is so sad. I rewatched it a couple years ago. I was like, this is one of the bleakest movies I've ever seen. Like, it's like Garden State isn't nearly as bleak. Garden State thinks it's as bleak as Say Anything. It's not even close.
Right. Yeah, that's actually
Zach Braff.
What's that?
He kind of is Zach Braff when you think about it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, and he's not as because they both have the smirk, nudge, nudge, wink, wink quality to them. Zach Braff is way more like epic in his style, but they both have
swag.
They both have no swag. But
it's like if you took John Cusack and added Jamie Kennedy. That's what Zach Braff is.
Yeah, that's true. And it's kind of similar. And I do think John Cusack would have risked it all for headphones, Natalie Portman in Garden State. Like, I think it would have worked. And he is just like, he's just one of these guys that's like a complete star and has been forever, but like everyone's mom loves him, but nobody reps him that hard. Like, it's just such a strange place to be in. It is similar to Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck is nobody's favorite actor, but he's always in movies. And I actually kind of like the guy, but it's just, it's like, they're kind of it's kind of like a good spot to be in as an actor, but not really. Now, when he started doing indie movies, when he was looking for work, like Maps to the Stars, when he's the weird yoga guy, amazing. Or I think he's a yoga guy or something, like, but that was amazing. And I kind of wish he kept going on that trajectory as like a weird, creepy old guy, kind of like odd Gen X, like Twitter groomer guy. Like that would have been really tight. But he is Gen X though. Like, he is the Gen X actor, I think, in my opinion. Like, and not necessarily Gen X in a sense of like he's the most famous Gen X actor. I just mean to everything we love and hate about that generation is John Cusack.
It's also, it is high fidelity also, like this movie really encapsulates that. Even like Jack Black has now become the weird guy with a big belly and a beard that every Gen X guy who fucking listened to Husker Du when he was a teenager became that guy.
Once Pixar gets a hold of you, dude, it's kind of over. Like, you kind of become, you got to put on the Biden overalls at that point. Like, you make a lot of money, but you have to grow the really grotesque gray beard, performatively letting everyone know you won't dye it. Not to say that dyeing it is a good idea, but like, I'm old and weird now, like doing that kind of thing. And I found
stream on Twitch.
Yeah, it's sad because I know DreamWorks is different, but like, I know that money is like, you cannot turn that money down. Like those big animated kids movies.
For like 3 hours of work. I mean, you show up for a week and you make like $1 billion.
You can wear your gay flame button-up shirt, and like you can wear that, and in fact, it probably helps if you do. And
the industry embarrasses black men by putting them in a dress, and they just make white guys eccentric.
Dude, if you think I'm not selling out for that shit, if I ever get offered that shit, I mean, it will be taken away from me swiftly. If like in a quicker than Shane Gillis. They'll offer it and like they'll get a text while I'm signing and go, "Yo, okay, that's interesting." Yeah,
your flame button up. We're taking that back.
Yeah. No, we don't care that we let your long hair go gray like Bob from Twin Peaks. Like, you're fucking, you're a freak. We heard what you did during the COVID stuff, and you're out of here. But that Pixar, because I used to every once in a while, rest in peace to my man Steve from Smash Mouth, and I do say my man because I actually have had 3 separate long conversations with him. He's from San Jose, California, dude. He's a San Jose, California guy, and he had property out here, and there was a music studio that I used to go to out there, and he owned the property where other people ran it and stuff, but he owned it. And he would pull up, lifted truck, beer cans falling out of it, coolest guy in the world, would come up, talk to you all the time. And I even asked him, I was like, once the second conversation when I felt like I could be annoying, I said, All-Star has to be the one that like just pays you forever. He's like, fuck no. He's like, that song pays the Shrek shit, dude. He was like, all the Shrek shit. He's like, me and the Counting Crows, dude, we like text each other. He's like, we like Scrooge McDuck. We're just like,
well, it's he has quite the windfall with Shrek 5 being announced.
Exactly. And what an insane concept to be making a movie for kids and being like the Counting Crows. And and then even, I mean, Smash Mouth was definitely more for kids than Counting Crows were, but like, but no, that guy was so cool. And he was just like, dude, he was like, honestly, he was saying, he's like, kind of felt weird to like sell out. And I was like, bro, like what do you mean? Like you guys were already like on Now That's What I Call Music, like, and then you got the Shrek stuff. But I get it. He was like, you want to you don't want to like take that Disney stuff. He's like, but dude, you see what they're offering, or that DreamWorks stuff, you got to take it. And Jack Black doesn't ever have to work again, and it's probably good for that case. I think we've had enough, but the run of Jack Black, I mean, even starting from like Mars Attacks, like those movies. He was so like, it was such a charming guy, such a charming, crazy ass white boy.
Well, yeah, it's such like a liberal arts college guy, where he's like the really over the top, like flamboyant, like very like Reddit, but like the bombastic quality of like the charming fat guy, etc. But like when there was one of him, it was charming, and now it's like there are so many of them, they congregate together off of like Reddit boards or whatever, and like that like. How everybody's like becomes Jack Black in that sense really makes it grating. Like,
amazing. Amazing.
Like I like my niece, like she's 7 years old, so I've seen the Mario movie with her like 17 times or whatever.
Wow.
And he plays Bowser, the voice, and it's like still it's like so iconic, his voice, and it just becomes grating.
Yeah, and he's just one of those guys. Like he's like a Reddit version of John Belushi, I would guess. Like, and I say that with love. Like, I think it works. I think it's totally fine. And there's that whole thing with like his. Apparently, the moon landing was real because Jack Black's mom was involved. So I'm like, oh, yeah, that seals the deal for me. The case closed. I can't remember if she was the one with like the stacked books that were taller than her because she did so much epic math to get to the moon. I can't remember.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
But I think it is. I think
right.
She's definitely was like involved with like NASA, and like she probably became black for Hidden Figures. Like she probably was like, it's probably like, well, Jack Black, that's what it should be. His next move, dude, is Jack Black. I'm black, and then
that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, the reverse Michael Jackson.
Exactly, dude. He's like, well, and dude, how could I forget Nacho Libre too? Classic. I mean, just when that came out, that was an electric movie. Like I don't even know if it's still funny. I think it's fun. Because I can do those voices all day. It's probably still funny to me.
Well, no, it's the Grand Mountain movie guys. They went and just covered Napoleon Dynamite, and Nacho Libre is the same director. So I watched both of them again, and like, oh my god, Nacho Libre is still really good.
I'm a huge Napoleon Dynamite fan. Like dude, Napoleon Dynamite. It was so weird when that came out because I saw it. It was one of those like weird, like your parents just stuff like $10 into your pocket and tell you to get lost like during summer. And it was with me and my buddy, Michael. Shout out Michael. We went to in 2003 or whenever that movie came out. We went and saw it in an empty theater. Laughed for like to the point of like it felt like a transcendent experience. Like my soul was leaving my body. I was laughing so hard. But I went to school. School started like 2 weeks later. And I went to school and I was asking my friends if they had seen it. They're like, well, that movie. They're like, no, that looks gay. And because it was not big upon theatrical release. Well, when the DVD sales came out, everybody was on it, and like they were trying to tell me. I felt like a hipster, like I felt like a weird hipster guy, where I was just like, dude, I was telling you about this. They're like, no, you were talking about something else. I was like, no, I fucking saw that movie. It was amazing. So
when my mom met my stepdad, it was now like single mom, like dating is always really rough. Like getting introduced to a lot of
Tarantino, dude. Yeah. You're the next Tarantino. That's
so true. But I like when my mom brought my stepdad around, especially after like a huge string of horrible ex-boyfriends. I knew I liked him because he got me a Vote for Pedro t-shirt like the first time I met him. He like brought me and my brother gifts. I got the Vote for Pedro shirt that was like 3 sizes too big, and I'm like, let's go.
Dude, it'd be so sick to do a Vote for Trump shirt in the Vote for Pedro thing.
That'd be sick.
Because people would fucking like at first they would be like, "That's so fun." No, what? Like,
whoa, cool throwback, fascist.
Yeah, like it would be so good with like the classic like that black trim on the
the ringer tee.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
My mom made me a Vote for Pedro t-shirt when I was in middle school. Pretty sick.
Tight.
Shout out.
Vote for Pedro was electric. I mean, it was so good. And because that voice, I mean, the guy's not even like hardcore Paisa Mexican like that either. Like he just did that voice for the movie, which was pretty funny.
East Sledgehammer.
I build her a cake or something, and it was hot, and I shaved my head.
Dude, I think about that specific scene so often because I have abso-fucking-lutely shaved my head because I felt too hot.
I don't have kids, so I'm like, I don't know what movies like pop or not. Like you'll see ads for kids movies, and like not all of them are hits, but that one seems to be a big hit. And is that just about like how people become BPD or something?
Something like that. I also don't have kids. I just hear about this stuff from like whoever the fattest lady is in the office is usually a Disney adult. So
yeah, Inside Out 3 is my coworker who put his shirt on in the dark. You know, like, tag showing. It's like
still drunk from the night before.
Not that I've done that either. Yeah,
no,
not that I've done that. But so what's going on Nice? You guys said low res, who's got the voice of God. I mean, if there was a movie where I wanted a God voiceover, it would be low res.
Yes, we did. We got to hang out with low res recently. That was very nice. It's such a very nice guy. And he came on and he talked to us about, I mean, it's the Autistic Special Interest Show, but he talked to us about a specific programming block that Nickelodeon had in the early 90s.
I know what it is.
Yeah. Yes. So he talked to us about Snick and just TV movies in general and Ren and Stimpy and pedophiles and, you know, in classic nice fashion. We
talking about Drake
we really
Bell.
got to the bottom of it. Yeah.
The episode with Kelby was great. I mean, I feel like that's the perfect genre for him of a show for him to come on, is to take one thing and let him just go off about it. You know, like it's good. I asked you guys before, but about like your guys' like bucket list or something. Has that been updated? Like you're just like the one guy you could get to like be autistic on the show. Like,
well, definitely the shaman Matt McCusker, I think, is the white whale for a lot of us in this space.
Yeah, white whale.
But yeah, also what's the guy from the movie Willard? What's that guy's name?
Willard.
Yeah, he was the thin man in Charlie's Angels.
Oh God, I don't know.
He has those weird Letterman interviews. Anyway,
yeah,
that guy. I would like to talk to him because I think he's an interesting cat. Monty, please Google it. I'm dying up here. But I
mean, your bucket list to not know the guy. I mean,
well, I just thought about it right now that I would like to talk to that guy because he seems like he's got weird and varied interests.
Yeah,
yeah. Probably looking at the wrong Willards. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, Willard. Yeah, that's like I thought you were talking about like Apocalypse Now Willard or something like Martin Sheen.
Crispin Glover. I'm thinking of Crispin Glover.
Glover. That's right.
For someone, if it's the Autistic Interest Show, then I think that he would.
It'd be really funny if you asked him, and he's like, it'd be really funny if you asked him, and he was like, "Well, I don't have any autistic interests. Like, I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal guy. What are you talking about?" Like,
yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, I think that that would be so amazing to just be able to like, because it's like, you know, you'd like to have like the Conan O'Brien tier style like podcast where you're just like you get that like next big guy to like be normal on your show or like different than they are.
Right.
And yeah, McCusker's probably the guy because I mean he would have so much. He would do an episode trying to figure out what his interest was.
Right. I don't even think me and Monty would have to be there. We just let him cook. We don't have to be involved whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
The guy,
Mike's muted the whole time. Let him cook.
Yeah, that guy can solo pod. I mean, it's not for everybody. Let me tell you that much. But that guy can solo pod. He's coming to my town in a little bit. Me and the boy Jared Klickstein might go pull up on.
Shout out to him.
Yeah,
yes.
Shout out.
Yeah, and Jared's new book also, which is very good. I'll plug it for him. But yeah, it was a blast talking to him too. It was actually
unbelievable. Yeah, he's unbelievable. The weirdest thing was just him hitting me up one time. He's like, I have like a cool story. And I'm like, yeah, you know, people say that, you sure, you know, but he was just like, nah, man, like truly, like I do, like, hit me up. Like I'm down to like talk about it, whatever. He didn't want to be anonymous about anything. I was like, cool. I was like, fuck, this guy rules, man. Like, you know, and you know, he's gonna be a superstar. Like I actually think like legitimately, like he'll be on Rogan. And
Shane Gillis called him a computer Jew. So I mean, what else?
Exactly. When that happens, that's, you know, he'll be on MSSP pretty soon, and then that'll be the case for sure. But well, I have plans for you guys coming up, especially Bigmac. I think we're gonna talk pretty soon about Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, little Apocalypse Now as well. It's been really hard to book. We're on a really cold streak with that. This is one of the first episodes that hasn't been like rescheduled in a while. Sometimes like we'll get like 3 months of just straight up everything happening at the exact right time, like, and then we'll just be striking out, whether it's me, whether it's Cy, whether it's the guest. This is one of the first ones in a while. So I was immediately with the Welbeck episode, I was going to do a double whammy with Adam Lair. Hopefully able to get that one together. Adam will come on at some point to talk about it, but to do a Welbeck kind of super episode, I wanted to drop it in installments, but that is my plan with Apocalypse Now, to do with another special guest who has some ties to Apocalypse Now, but with Bigmac, with Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. We're going to be talking about that pretty soon. And Carlo, you still down for Battlefield Earth for the Gain of Fiction?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Scientology super episode.
We're gonna get weird.
We are, man. No, we're gonna get crazy. But yes, guys, if you haven't listened to Nice, look, there's a big middle of the Venn diagram between our two shows. So if you've liked some of the guests from our shows, hell, if you've even liked us, me and Cy have been on there. We're like fighting fish. They keep us in separate little tanks. And we've gone on. Cy talked about the fucking like Clockwork Elves or something on your guys.
Hippie bullshit. Yeah.
It's all, you know, all
talk
that
shit
stuff.
on him since he's not here.
I talked about Clint Eastwood, which, you know, I guess I'm not.
Got us into a little bit of trouble.
I'm not even allowed to do that anymore. Which is sad. Now that they're remaking, and then all of a sudden they start remaking Fistful of Dollars. So I don't want to piss off the schizo boomers. It's not that far of a drive for them to find me. So
I will say every time that we have someone on to go and talk about something on Nice, it immediately like gets back into the zeitgeist like the same week. So it's the Nice weird, effect man. Is going strong.
It's weird, dude. I'll see random people talking about Michael Crichton. I'll just be like, I don't know you. Like, what is your problem? You know, like, how did you find it? Like, why are you not, you know, there's just, it happens. It's weird because it's like, you know, they're not stealing it from you, but like you did put it out there one way or another, and indirectly they're coming across it somehow by what you've put out there, which is really, it's a very odd thing to say. And you never want to get too caught up and wrapped up in it, but it also is true.
I'm waiting for the Alien Ant Farm algorithm to hit the rest of the world, because so far it's just me.
One of the band members has to die. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
No, I'm which one? No, pick one. Yeah, but no, no, maybe not. Or one of them has to come out as have a weird, or it has to be like, say they were like molested by someone or something. Like, and then you know, like the weird like rap rock wigger molestation documentary, I feel like is going to happen at some point.
And we're about like 2 years out from that.
I'm not looking forward to it. So let's not pull back the curtain and find Oz. Like, we know what made that music. Like, we don't need to. Yeah, I know exactly who, you know, got to Jonathan Davis and told us in the songs. You know, but